Thanks for inviting us in on this Monday night. TSA has now confirmed less than an hour ago it will no longer enforce mask mandates. All of this coming after a federal judge today overturned the White House's mask mandate for airplanes and other public transportation. But now a legal battle could still follow. The U.S. District Judge in Florida ruling today this mandate is unlawful and exceeds the authority of the CDC. The White House press secretary called the ruling disappointing, saying the CDC is reviewing the decision. Now, the Department of Justice has not yet said if it will try to appeal. Now, we reached out to our regional TSA tonight, and they told us they won't be enforcing masks anymore. They did tell us the CDC is still recommending that people wear a mask on flights. Now, the four largest airlines, Delta, United, American, and Southwest, all dropped their mask mandates tonight. Now, we might be headed for a lengthy legal battle on this issue, and as that proceeds, this mask mandate could be on again, off again, leaving travelers like you confused. So tonight, our Rachel Krause went out to the Indianapolis International Airport to talk with flyers.
For the past 2 years, you've had to have a mask on if you want to get on a plane. Now, the future of this mask mandate is in question after a federal judge struck down the requirement. Travelers flying into Indianapolis say it was masks on as usual Monday.
Everybody was following the mask rule. No problems, no trouble or anything like that online during the flight.
Throughout the airport, mask requirement signs were up, and travelers kept faces covered in the hours soon after the ruling. Steve Sanders, a law professor at IU's Maurer School of Law, says in this case, the judge's ruling considered whether the mask mandate was within the powers that Congress gave the CDC.
Whether when you're facing an emergency situation, whether we should read the technical words of laws as kind of broadly as possible to empower government rather than as narrowly as possible to restrict the power and authority of government. What you saw in this decision today, I think, is an example of the latter kind of reasoning.
Sanders says the federal transportation mask mandate may remain on again, off again in the coming days as the issue plays out in the courts. While the mask mandate was set to expire May 3rd, Sanders says the Biden administration would likely appeal that so that they can bring back a mask mandate down the road if need be, or simply to give future leaders a more clear precedent for dealing with national emergencies moving forward.
As of this moment, it appears to be void according to that judge. Now, what will happen probably is the federal government, the Biden administration's lawyers will within the next day or two ask the judge to put her ruling on hold so that the status quo, that is the mandate, can continue while the decision is appealed.
That's leaving many travelers feeling uncertain on if they'll be required to or simply choose to mask up.
Me personally, I would like to have mine on, and I did.
All I hope is that it goes away so that everything can go back to being as it once was before this whole mess started.
This ruling also applies to all public transportation, including buses. So we reached out tonight to Indigo. They're telling us they're still operating under the mask mandate, meaning all riders must wear a mask. Now, Professor Sanders said tonight the law was read in a narrow way, saying the CDC did not have the authority. The federal judge who made today's ruling was appointed by then-President Donald Trump in 2020. Professor Sanders says conservative justices tend to take a narrow approach, limiting executive orders and powers, while more progressive justices have said these kinds of safety measures are well within the agency's power.
Judges with different ideological frameworks about government power will often read the language of statutes quite differently.
Now, we're going to follow this story overnight and wait to see if the Department of Justice decides to appeal this ruling. So look for updates tomorrow morning on Sunrise and, of course, on our news app. And that wraps up tonight's big story.